Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And it is a pleasure to have you here with my good friend, Mr. Mike Piwowarski.
Well, all off center. Oh, great. You know, the problem, Craig, is when I come back from the weekend doing the weekend shows, and the settings are all different. And then we come on Monday here, and it's like, whoa, that's wrong. That's wrong. I'm way off center, and there we go. That's good enough. Hey, welcome to the Back to the Program. I'm Mike Piwowarski, your co-host. It's the co-host from the East Coast, the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most. Here on the Rundown, 2A Views Conservative News. Craig, you kind of got an idea how my weekend went. How's yours?
My weekend went pretty good, man. It was kind of casual. Mostly hung out with family. Didn't do anything constructive, which was kind of the goal.
You said casual and hang out with family, like those two go together. You've got different families, I guess.
Yeah, we definitely have different families. Now, mind you, I do have those parts of the family where, yeah, it's a hot mess. The plan was to keep that part of the family away from me this weekend.
Yeah, lots of luck, you know. good on you. Yeah.
It worked out well for me. So I'm very relaxed and ready to go here on Monday. Although we have seen a bit of a turn in the weather, we've had a wee bit of rain, and the only challenge with rain in California, in particular in Sacramento, is people act like they've never driven in the rain before.
I was going to say mudslides, but okay, all right.
I don't think we haven't had quite enough fires for there to be a lot of mudslides.
So you got to have two natural disasters to get a big natural disaster.
There you go. That's pretty much how it works. The fires come through, remove all the trees with the strong roots and all of that stuff, and then the mudslides come and take the rest of it away.
Even your natural disasters got weird liberal rules. That's crazy.
Yes, they do. This is California. How long have we been doing this show? You don't know. This is California. We don't do things like other states. And that's not a good thing. I mean,
we have been doing the show a long time, and you should realize by now I'm not really listening when you talk to me.
I know. I realize that. But it's okay. It's okay. I'll tell you what. I will listen while you give a shout out to our sponsors.
We could do that. Let's say hello to our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. Odds are if you got yourself an AR in the past 5 years or so, you may have one of their barrels already and not even know it. Well, now they're selling direct to the public. You can go out and get one for your own build or replace the barrel in your rifle. Let's also say hello to our good friends over at the California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Reach out to them and show them your support with your dollars. It don't happen for free, folks. And then if you want some awesome tactical gear, web gear, go to our good friends over at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are the people who make it possible for us to come to you every Monday through Friday. So please do us a favor. Go visit them. Their links to their websites are in the description of this program. Go there, check them out. If you like what you see, spend some money with them. Make sure you tell them that the folks over at The Rundown sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you haven't already done so, please like, share, and subscribe however you partake of the program. Like us there, share us there, and share it with your friends. Also let them know that there are tons of other places where they can either watch and or listen to the program. Wherever you get your video content from, we're there. Wherever you get your podcast, audio podcast from, we are there. Check us out, and once again, encourage your friends to do the same. All right, Mike, This is nothing new, and I almost feel like ultra repetitive when I talk about this story. But Joe Biden is confused again. And not only is he confused, but he's confusing the rest of us. So yesterday on 60 Minutes, the president was asked a number of different questions. And among them had to do with Taiwan and whether or not we would put boots on the ground in order to defend Taiwan should China attack. Well, needless to say, he has said, well, our policy has not changed. And yes, we would be putting boots on the ground should something happen in should something happen there in Taiwan. Now, what's even funnier about it, Mike, is that the White House then, right after the program, the White House then gets a hold of 60 Minutes and says, no, U.S. policy has not changed. That's not true.
Yeah, Chris, who's Chris? Craig, there's so many. I guess I had some Chris dreams. I don't know what's going on there. I don't even know a Chris. That's the weird part. And I'm going to stick with that story too. This thing has got so many different dynamics to it. One, obviously, just like you said, more evidence that the guy's losing his mind. He's got dementia. He's whatever it happens to be, whatever the ailment happens to be. That it's slowly and surely grabbing hold of him. It's not that his brain doesn't work. It's right now his brain's working like it's 1994. He thinks it's another time, another date. I'm surprised he didn't call himself senator again. It's really a shame that we're all having to go through this. It's a shame he has to go through it, but it's a shame the rest of us have to suffer along with him as well. The policy there in Taiwan, Craig, has always been, and here it is, by the way, folks. This has always been the official policy. The official policy is that we do not recognize Taiwan as an independent country. Did you get that? Okay. We will not send military
He is winking
aid.
for those of you who are listening to the podcast. He is just winking.
We will not send military aid to them in the form of soldiers. Another wink. There you go. Another wink. That's always been the policy. It's kind of one of those things where, listen, we have to do this publicly so we don't have to go fight China. But we're also telling our other allies, hey, you know the deal, right? And they're like, yeah, we know the deal. It's all good. It's all good. The other part of this, Craig, that I would be upset with if I was the White House is CBS. You know that they don't let this guy out to do interviews without approving the questions ahead of time. And I know it's CBS, and that's a big deal, and it's 60 Minutes, and that's a big deal. But so's your president not having a memory. So's your president saying things like, they told me not to answer any questions, or they said I have to go now. Okay? You don't let a guy like that go do an interview by himself without pre-approving the questions. They clearly went off the script, which is a good sign to me because it shows me perhaps CBS is doing the turn and coming away from liberal blind support and trying to put the hard questions to the administration.
Well, I'll tell you what's funny. And so since we had talked about this when we were going over stories this morning, someone else introduced another concept, another idea that was in here in this actual interview that I didn't even think about. So in this interview, he said that COVID is over. The COVID, there is no more COVID pandemic. The pandemic is over, right? But when he did his student loan forgiveness executive order, the reason he gave was because of the pandemic. So in other words, he's saying because we are in the midst of an ongoing crisis, the pandemic, that's why he needs to forgive that's why he needs to forgive up to $10,000 or in some cases up to $20,000 in student loan forgiveness. So he may also at the same time in the same interview completely and utterly undermined and undermined his entire reason and rationale and legality for his student loan forgiveness program.
Yeah, quite possibly. Again, the cylinders are not firing correctly. We got a little misfire going on in there. So it's a shame we have to watch him go through it. Like I said, it's a shame we have to go through it. But the other power that be the liberals, the other side of the power brokers here, want to maintain control so bad, so much. They want control of you so bad that they're willing to let a guy with this mental health condition or medical condition, depending on what it is, continue to be in charge of.
But
continue to be the man running the country.
That also says how much they do not want Kamala Harris to be president.
Yeah, listen, I think
that's the one thing, by the way, Mike. Mike, that's the one thing I think both Republicans and Democrats have united on is that we do not want Kamala Harris to be president.
Yes. Oh no, I think we're all agreed on that. And they listen, just bad planning on their part, right? They had no idea she was going to tank the way she did when she got up there. I mean, she is turned into, well, and it's not really even turned into, Craig. Those that paid attention knew how bad she was. It's just now that she's in the national spotlight and not just your your California spotlight. Everybody knows.
Well, now part of it in her defense, what I will say is this:
Don't defend
when
her.
she decided to run when she became vice president, they completely got rid of all of her staff and replaced her with all Biden staff. And I really believe that as bad as she was as a senator, her speaking didn't get really super crazy and bad until she became vice president, because I honestly believe that her staff was covering for her when she was candidate candidate Harris, or she was Senator Harris, or even Attorney General Harris. Her verbal bungles were nothing compared to what they are now, and I think that's because she had a staff that was experienced in covering for her.
You mean like Pelosi's staff or Feinstein's staff, where they do everything, and she turns around and says, "I know. Oh, we did do that. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that." Yeah, she
Pretty
gets
much,
that
yeah.
information.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the other rules, Craig, that the White House doesn't allow any homeless people doing drugs in that White House either. So that might be why they got rid of her staff. I mean, they are California people.
There you go.
They're from San Francisco. I thought everybody in San Francisco was homeless and pooping on the sidewalks now.
No, they're pretty much all pooping on the sidewalks, but they are not all homeless.
Gotcha. Okay.
Although pooping on the sidewalk
I apologize
is
to
pretty much a thing.
those that are pooping on the sidewalks and they're not Democrats. So I apologize to them.
There you go. But, here's the other thing. Now, by the way, these are not the only things that Democrats seem to be confused about. They also seem to be confused about the dangers of MAGA candidates. Why do I say this? Well, there has been the Democratic Party, and I mean the Democratic senatorial committees, their congressional committees, the local state parties, they have literally spent money trying to ensure that MAGA Republican candidates, supporters of President Trump, people who in any way question any of the outcomes, or if there were any problems with the 2020 election, they have all been deemed to be what's the word I'm looking for? Ultra MAGA Republicans. Well, the Democratic Party seems to have invested $53 million nationwide in helping to elect Republicans to office, or at least in terms of helping them get into the primary. Now, Mike, and by the way, in 6 out of 13 cases, this actually worked. Here in California, I know for a fact they did it in at least 2 races. And once again, the oddest thing is, in some cases it didn't work, but the point is that if these are people who, as the president says, are a danger to democracy, these are people who can throw our entire electoral system, our entire republic into the throes of chaos, why would you be spending tens of millions of dollars to help them get elected?
Craig, this plan is so brilliant. It makes me think that Governor DeSantis created it. Think about what's going on here. You've got basically, 13 throwaway races, 13 races that the Republicans said, nah, not really interested. That's it's not our bag, baby. We're not going to those 13 districts. But instead, they put 13 newcomers up there, right? 13 people that have a little bit of funding, right? From the locals, maybe a little bit from the Trump camp, whatever it happens to be. They put up a little bit of money to make the Democrats work. And what do? They go overboard. They spend $53 million on 13 primary races going against the Republicans there. So, I mean, that sounds like a victory to me, Craig, if you look at it from, the logical standpoint, unlike how the left looks at it. They find it as a victory that they prevented 6 out of 13 from moving on. Well, to me, that sounds like 7 out of 13 did move on, Craig. Listen, I'm not a mathematician or anything, but I think 7's more than 6. I think that means we win. All right. I think
but Mike, that's not even the thing. The point is that in some cases, these quote unquote MAGA candidates, these are candidates that we Republicans actually like. I mean, what they're saying is that swing voters are so hate Donald Trump that they're not going to vote for these folks, right? They wanted to get what they believed, in their opinion, was the least liked Republican to actually show up to the poll, to actually become the nominee to run against a Democrat. But they're acting as if they're ignoring all of the policies that they have put in place. The fact that there's crime in our streets, that they're teaching all sorts of racial and gender theory in our classrooms, the fact that inflation is through the roof. It's like we're going to ignore all of that because this guy's too ultra MAGA.
Yeah, and again, Craig, listen, I'm in agreement here. The Democrats believe that these right-wing, ultra racist MAGA people, whatever their description of us is this week, they said that these 13 people were so egregious that not even Donald Trump supporters would vote for them because nobody likes Donald Trump. The Democrats have proven, look at the hearings, Craig, how bad Donald Trump is. So if we can associate these candidates with Donald Trump, they'll never get voted for. They don't understand. The liberals don't understand. This is their problem, right? They don't understand what's going on in the real world. They live up there in Martha's Vineyard, right? They don't have any grasp of what's really going on. It's not that we don't like Democrats. It's not that we don't like Republicans. We don't like the swamp rats. Okay, we're tired of the establishment, and if that means the new guy on the block, Donald Trump, or anybody else like that, that's where we're going. And if they agree with the guy that says get rid of the swamp rats, yeah, we're going with them too. All right, that's who these people are. And the Democrats don't realize, they don't even know what the threat is to them. And they spent $53 million helping us.
Oh yeah, they did. Yes, they did. And they spent $3 million to basically put in place people who are going to be in position to be able to help the next president of the United States drain the swamp.
That's right. And former champ. Yes, you got to say it like that too.
Well, there you go.
The next former champ.
Well, you know what? My belief, quite frankly, is whether it is Donald Trump, if it's not Donald Trump, it's going to be Ron DeSantis, and whichever one is the nominee is going to come in and do a lot to drain the swamp. And so it looks like they could potentially have both a Senate and a House that is highly supportive of those efforts.
Yeah, agreed, Craig, whoever it may be, but I do disagree. We're not draining the swamp next time. Next time we're just killing swamp rats. That's
okay.
Just
we're
not relocating the rat and sending it somewhere else. We're killing the swamp rats this time.
Okay. I don't disagree. We're talking politically killing, right? We're not talking actual physical,
Oh yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Okay. just want to say we are not advocating for violence against swamp rats.
No, I would never advocate for violence against swamp rats.
But we do want them out.
Oh yes, we do want them out. Yeah.
Yes, we most definitely want them out. Now, Mike, and what's interesting is that they want us to believe, well, let's put it this way. All we've ever talked about when we talk about the election and what our concerns are is to point to you to exactly what Democrats are doing and the results that it has had, whether it's crime, whether, crime in the streets, when you defund the police and you decriminalize crime, whether it's overregulation and implementing policies that harm our energy independence. And thus we've seen gas prices and other prices go through the roof. We've seen inflation go through the roof. Republicans are doing a good job of pointing out exactly what the issues are, what we have to be concerned about. And but the interesting thing about it, Mike, is that on the other hand, you have Democrats like Bill Clinton, who are basically saying, Republicans they're going out of their way to find ways to scare the living daylights out of swing voters. Now, last I checked, I didn't see Republicans saying that Democrats were undermining our democracy and were an existential threat to our nation, even though they are. I didn't see Republicans calling Democrats racists and talking about how they want to take us back to Jim Crow and slavery. That would once again be the Democrats. But Mike, I'm like, how is it we're the ones who are doing the fear mongering?
Craig, again, just like the last story, they don't understand. They don't recognize the threat. Before you could fix a problem, Craig, and come up with a solution, you have to define the problem, right? You have to figure out what the problem is. Oh, my car's not running. I'd better go change the garbage disposal on my sink. Okay, you have to figure out what the problem is. They can't do that. They don't understand. As far as they're concerned, Craig, every time they call one of us a ultra MAGA racist, they're saving the country. They think that they're 100% right. They have no idea that every time they say the Republicans are lying and or conservatives are lying and they're going to come up with scare tactics, that we all look around the room and go, "What is this? What is this old fool talking about?" Who knows? Does your wife know you're out of the house? What are you doing? It's incredible to watch what comes out of their mouths, and they have no ability to define what's wrong.
Well, what's funny is he points out here, and here I'll pull up the quote. This is the one that really got me. He says, they just scare people, Clinton added. And in the end, the break point in American politics is not that much different than the 90s. You still have to get those people. It's just that there's so many fewer of them. Because as the parties have gone more ideological and clear and somehow physically intolerant, they pull more and more people towards the extremes. But Mike, one of the things about the 90s was when Bill Clinton, who started off very left-wing, I mean, first thing he implemented was tax increases, and he went after trying to do socialized medicine. And he got soundly smacked down in the election, right? In the midterm elections. But what he did was moderate, right? He actually started meeting with Republicans and saying, okay, I'll give you something that you want if you give me something that I want. We got police reform, right? We actually got criminal justice reform. Well, actually clarify. We started locking people up. Right? We started putting people behind bars. We actually got some sort of welfare reform. So if anything, it was Republicans basically pointing out how Democrat policies were failing, or how Democrats were failing to implement policies that Americans believed in. And that was really about it. And that's the same thing that's happening right now. You basically have Republicans who are pointing out the failing policies of Democrats and saying, if you want more of that, then vote for them. But if you don't, and I'm assuming you don't, vote for us.
Craig, I got asked over the weekend who I thought was going to win the Florida governor's race between Ron DeSantis and former Republican governor, Charlie Crist, then turned independent, then turned Democrat. They asked who I thought, and I said, well, that's easy. And it reminds me of the 2016 presidential race where Charlie Crist's, let's go with DeSantis first. We know that DeSantis's policies are, get rid of wokeism. Let's bring back personal freedoms. Let's take away tax breaks from those that are abusing certain laws. He's got a very clear stance on what he does. Whereas Charlie Crist's platform is, we hate DeSantis, and that's where they've gone. That's where the Democrat Party's gone. They have nothing other than, look over there, they're bad. Vote for us.
Well, and that's pretty much what they did when they took the 2020 election. That was pretty much their whole thing was, we hate Donald Trump. And the thing that made it work for them was there were enough cheese-eating surrender monkey Republicans who were willing to co-sign on that message.
Yeah, again, we've had that conversation. I think that was because when faced with 4 years of pain or bloodshed on that day, they chose. We know which way they chose.
Right. Exactly. Well, and I think there are many people. There are many people who chose wrong, and some of them are regretting it. Some of them are not smart enough to regret it.
Yeah. We know what 10 out of 12 are regretting it because they've lost their jobs, right?
Yes,
So,
they did. They are on unemployment line, which is kind of hard to do when you consider the fact that, unemployment is so low. But when you are so wrong, that kind of sticks on your resume.
yes. Yes, indeed.
All right, and finally, we're going to move on. We're going to talk a little smart gun technology. Now, I've always said that smart guns are a bad idea. Anytime you put too much additional, especially electronics or computer technology onto your firearm and you solely rely on it to be functional, that is a dangerous proposition. But it becomes even more dangerous, in my opinion, when the Chinese government, that's right, the Chinese, not just government, but Chinese government-run media is pushing and promoting smart guns right here in these United States. Our good friend Tom Knighton over at Bearing Arms put together a piece, and he was really kind of highlighting this little piece right here that was done. Now, I'm running the video here, Mike, because I want people to see. This is Chinese TV. This is Chinese media. Notice that is not, unless she is a Chinese national transplant there, that is not a Chinese-looking person who is there promoting this smart gun firearm. Now, Mike, I'm just trying to figure. Now, some would say, Craig, why are you questioning? Why does it bother you that the Chinese would be promoting smart gun technology? I mean, why does that bug you? And, it makes me wonder, am I wrong for questioning this?
No, Craig, what could possibly go wrong with a couple million handguns or rifles or shotguns in this country, all controlled by Chinese electronics? I don't know what could go wrong with that at all. I have no theory about them flipping a switch and watching all of us have useless pieces of steel. I have no theory about that whatsoever, that they could do that to us.
Mike, I am just shocked at your level of cynicism and negativity.
Well, it's pretty hot summer here, Craig.
The idea, first of all, we've all seen how easy, and if you haven't, all you have to do is go to YouTube, do a search. You can find several videos on how easy it is to hack most of the smart gun technology. And then there's places where they've actually tested it and places where it is actively failed. And the last thing you want when you need your firearm to be effective and work, the last thing you want is for it to fail. But imagine now the Chinese who have acquired much, if not most, of their technology by stealing it. And I feel very comfortable saying stealing it. They've either hacked into American companies' computers, they've bought percentage ownership, they've sent spies into American companies, or they bought in ownership enough to where they could get hold of the technology, create their own Chinese companies, and then completely and utterly copy the information. I feel very comfortable saying that they stole a lot of it, if not most of it. Having them have control over our technology or our firearm technology is the epitome of stupid.
Craig, I don't know if you know this, and I don't even know if the public is aware of this. Let me give you a little example of the Chinese ability and what they're willing to do in order to steal things or hurt us or harm us. The United States military, including all active duty, all reservists. I think the number with including reserves is somewhere at the 4 million mark, something like that. I'm not sure. Including now adding all DoD personnel, and you jump up over 10 million. In all of those computer systems, every computer that they have, every single one of them, you are not allowed, and it's been disabled, you are not allowed to use CDs or thumb drives. Not allowed to use them. You know the reason why? Because all of those products are made in China. And they discovered during security sweeps about 10, 15 years ago, all the code inside of those. Even if it was a blank CD, it was unrecognizable code. And once data was put on there, guess where it went back to? Sent back overseas. Same thing with thumb drives. So they've already done it. It's already happened, and our military still has that policy. Not allowed to use external media sources to transfer data because of the code in them that sends the information back to Mother China.
I feel pretty comfortable, and the number was either at 100 or in the hundreds. They were talking about the number of cases or cases opened dealing with espionage in China on American technology that are opened every day. Every day. Yep. That's how often they are going after our technology. So, yeah, no. And they're not doing it for some benign reason. They have a goal. It's the 100-year goal, started in 1949. Their goal is to be the premier economic superpower in the world, to supplant the United States. So, if you ever get a chance, read the 100-Year Marathon, and you will get a very good idea of exactly what it is that they're doing and why they're doing it. But yeah, no, this is not an accident, and no, we do not want them to have control over farms. And yeah, I think this video from their media is a great example. Of their efforts to try and do that.
There you go.
All righty, we're going to move on to our parting shots here, and we've got a few of them, so we're going to go through them pretty quickly. Now, this first one, you all know that Ron DeSantis, he has become kind of the king of slapping back liberalism, progressivism, wokeism, and all the rest. And this message was sent very clear as he sent folks to Martha's Vineyard, which is why I think this particular image is so apropos. Okay, for those of you who have seen Django Unchained, it's the Leonardo DiCaprio character where he's got his little drink with his little pinky out, and he's got his nice old style Southern suit on, except the face is Ron DeSantis's, and it says, "Fix the border, or we'll bring the border to you." Now, Mike, how do you think they're going to bring the border to the rest of the United States?
Oh, yeah, listen, we got we use the DeSantis Airlines, baby. DeSantis
Airlines, bringing the border to you.
Bringing the border to you. Craig, it's not fair. You got the Biden administration up there playing checkers, right? And you got governors like Ducey in Arizona and Abbott in Texas loading up migrants and sending them to big places like Chicago, New York, and D.C. They're playing chess. You got Biden playing checkers, and you got those governors playing chess, and then you got Ron DeSantis, who's playing 3D chess over there.
Oh, yeah.
He's added another layer to it.
He's a whole nother layer. And here's the reason why that is so important, right? Because as soon as they sent them to Martha's Vineyard, right? What did you get? The first thing you got was this. Bam. You want to describe this?
That's a beautiful photo. That's a real photo, by the way. I don't know if you know that. That's a real photo. What we have in this photo is
they've both gotten a little chunky.
He's retired now. If you remember the McCloskeys in St. Louis, outside St. Louis, Mark and his wife, the ones that held the firearms up to the BLM people that were breaking down and destroying the fence as they came into their neighborhood. The headshots have been changed. It's now old Barry and Michelle Obama out there with their own firearms, keeping them off the yard.
Exactly. Now, there were some people who took a less aggressive approach. Obviously, they were supportive of the idea of sanctuary cities. Here you have a picture. It says you have a picture of the four pictures of Homer Simpson. At first, he's out there. He's got the pro illegal immigrant sign, the pro sanctuary city sign, and then all of a sudden, as he sees the migrants that start to appear, he goes back into the hedges and then comes back out with a no trespassing sign and a camera on there. Now,
not in my backyard. NIMBY, I call it. NIMBY.
Not in my backyard.
Backyard.
And Mike, apparently, their new policy has been quickly and swiftly implemented. And I'll go ahead and let you read this one.
It says, let's do a recap of Martha's Vineyard drama, shall we? Oh, I'm sorry, it's Massachusetts. It's drama. Let's do a recap of Martha's Vineyard's drama, shall we? Walk with me. Well, friends, 36 hours and 300 National Guardsmen later, and the Massachusetts government, along with the good Christian millionaires of Martha's Vineyard, have ejected the 48 weary travelers from the church, bust them off their fancy island, and detain them at a joint military base.
Yeah. Those are the 48 people who were sent to Martha's Vineyards were basically escorted off the island by 300 National Guardsmen and are now being held at a military base at Cape Cod, which, by the way, is a sanctuary city.
That's right.
In all defense, even though a lot of the policymakers and supporters of sanctuary city policies, many of them have vacation homes there in Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard itself has not officially passed a sanctuary city policy.
Yeah. Why? But when your state says you are, the only thing you could do is say you're not, right? I mean, if your state says you're a sanctuary city, you do nothing unless you object to it. They clearly did not object to that status.
I am just trying to be accurate. That's all. That is all. Good stuff. All right, Mike. Hey,
that's
look.
it. I thought we had one more. We don't have one more. There's not one more. I'm looking.
I do not have one more here.
All right. We'll go with those.
I think we're good. Hold on. Let me look through my stuff over here. Let me make sure I have not forgotten one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Taking a look.
I see.
In the meantime, let me tell you about Hitman Industries. Hitmanindustries.net. Hitmanindustries.net. Odds are, if you have an AR, you probably have one of their barrels already. But now you could buy them direct from them. You could buy them. You're the public. You could buy one from them. Get a new rifle. Get a new upper. Get a new barrel. Do that. They don't sell rifles. They just sell the parts. Get the barrels. So check them out. Hitmanindustries.net. Hitmanindustries.net. Moving on, the California Republican Assembly. Please reach out to the California Republican Assembly. The conscience of the Republican Party. That's what Ronald Reagan called him. He was Superman. And then, of course, if you want some awesome tactical gear, go to uscombatgear.com. All right, Craig, was there another one or was I mistaken?
I think you were mistaken, sir. I believe we were good.
Got it. You lost it. Okay, I understand. All
right. All right. Hey, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you encouraging your friends to tune in. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Taco Tuesday. Oh, nice. Okay. Taco Tuesday is always my favorite day. So we'll be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday, bringing more 2A news and conservative views. And with that, we will see you mañana.